Slagle
Yes, sir.
is in the building
What's up, Tony?
with a brand new single, man,
Yes, sir.
featuring
Chip the
Chip
Rip.
the Ripper. That's a big That's a big feature.
Man, tell you the truth, man, the Chip feature is really a dream come true for me.
Yeah.
He's somebody I always looked up to, him and Cuddy growing up, listening to the music. Now the fact that I got one of Cleveland's own, one of the greatest to ever do it on a song with me, man, I'm excited.
Yeah. Now, this song, though, is a different style than you would expect from you or Chip.
Correct.
It's more like when I listen to it, it seems like one of them songs. You know when you hear people say, this is one of them songs you just sit back and smoke to.
Right.
It's got that kind of vibe to it.
Something to vibe to, definitely.
Yeah, because it's not more like a single that you would see people throwing on and go out on the dance floor.
Right.
More like a rider song.
Right.
What was the story behind the song?
So it's kind of crazy. I make most of my own beats, so I'm making the beat and I just really like the vibe and the guitar in it and how everything was flowing. So as I was writing to it, I actually had a whole nother verse that fit perfectly to it. So I scrapped what I was writing to it and I noticed the lyrics were really introspective and almost melodic to match that tempo. And I thought, who else would feel that kind of vibe and feel that kind of smoke vibe on this song? And that's what led me to thinking about Chip, thinking about the collabs him and Cuddy did back in the day.
Yeah.
And their whole run together. So that's kind of what kicked it off.
Yeah, and Chip was open to it.
Yeah. So
after he heard the track.
Shout out Big Bro, man. I was really excited. I sent him the beat and everything. He hit me right back. He said he loved it. His whole team loved it. They just wanted me to come with a really strong chorus. I feel like we knocked that out the park. Shout out to my engineer Don Cooch. He really came through and mixed that together well.
Yeah. Now this single is leading up to a big project.
Yes, sir.
30 Summers.
30 Summers.
What is 30 Summers all about? It puts me in the mind frame of maybe you're 30 years old.
Right.
And you're talking about the previous 30 Summers.
Right, so that's kind of what it is. So 30 Summers, I'm 29 right now. So my goal is to drop it around the time that I'm 30, maybe in the summertime. But it's just a reflection on everything I've currently been through and kind of giving hindsight, and you really hear the growth over them 30 summers and kind of how I transformed more from the adolescence into a man now.
Yeah. Now, we were talking offline, and you were giving me a little bit of insight on the marketing behind 30 Summers and how there's a documentary on the way.
Right.
That's kind of documenting, kind of like your life story in a sense of from point A to point B of how you got here.
Exactly.
In the rap game and kind of like the trials and tribulations you face going through it. Is that fitting into that 30 Summers theme of, like you said, you're being 29 years old, you drop it when you're 30, and like, hey, this is what I've been through in life and how I got here?
It's definitely fitting into that kind of theme. Doing the documentary, we had my parents in it. I had my older brother in it. I had some close people to me in it. All kind of given. People love that I tell stories a lot in the music.
Yeah.
And they can really relate. So to have them people who I've told stories about or referred to in the music, telling the stories themselves in a visual way, just really helps capture the essence of what I'm trying to bring for the 30 Summers album.
What kind of content would you say 30 Summers goes into? Because when I listen to Higher,
right,
the joint with Chip, it's a laid-back, smoking kind of vibe. Is the whole project going to be that same vibe, or are you getting a variation of Slagle?
I think it's going to be a bit of a variation, but I do have a certain sound that I'm going with. A lot of wavy, melodic sounds, but I plan on having 2 or 3 up-tempo songs. So if you want to go to the club and dance to it, you can.
Okay.
But a lot of it's going to be storytelling, very almost like that pure back to the roots of hip-hop.
Yeah. Now, you've been to iHeart before.
Yes, sir.
But for people who missed it the last time, how did you first even get into the hip-hop game?
So how I first got into it, I know it's kind of cliche, but as a little kid, I used to look up to Eminem a lot.
Okay.
My mother, when she was pregnant having me, would put headphones on her stomach and listen to like Biggie, Bone Thugs, Prince.
Oh, so she was into hip-hop and R&B too?
Yeah, she was a super hip-hop head. She's the reason that I know about all the music I do now. So that's kind of where it started.
Yeah. And hearing that music at an early age kind of embedded it in you.
Yes.
And then that progressed as you went along, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So it definitely progressed. I mean, as a kid, I would try to do the karaoke at family outings. You know, I was always trying to be like the entertainer, picking up the microphone. Even though I can't really sing, you know, I'd be
Yeah.
trying to sing, trying to entertain the crowd that was there with me.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
kind of just carried all the way out up until now.
Yeah. Now, what would you say has been the most challenging thing for Slagle so far in the game?
Well, the
Like,
most
let me pull out a list, huh?
Yeah. So one of the most challenging things I think is being born with a cleft lip and palate.
Okay.
Because there's a lot that comes in with that. Having a lisp, having to pronounce everything as best I can, and trying to be punctual. You know, it took me a while to kind of found my voice when it came to being a artist and how to sound and how to project properly.
Yeah.
So I came off clear enough, but I still didn't sound like a robot. It all flowed nicely.
Okay. So the diction
Yeah.
was a big thing to kind of get over.
Yes.
Then what about just in the game? Once you got past that, you got the diction down.
Right.
Then what was the next hurdle, you think?
Trying to stay above everyone. Like, there's a lot of artists who go out here and they do these shows. They're trying to open up for all the big names. I was
Yeah.
one of them people. But I realized that over the time, yeah, you get some fans along the way, but then people don't really care about you.
Right.
They want
right,
to see
right.
the headline.
Yeah.
So that was one of the challenges I faced, is because I kind of felt like I was being left out not doing these shows after a while, but
Yeah.
it made me double down on my marketing, and I got way more of an organic reach to the point now I can get paid to come do a show
Right.
versus selling tickets.
That's the key to it. Like you
Yeah.
said, that's probably what was missing early on, probably was the marketing end of it. But now you're doing it and doing it in a big way.
Exactly.
So now things have been moving.
Right.
You're at iHeart for a second time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But even in going back in the story and listening to the previous project, I used to fantasize about dying on the moon.
Yes.
For people who were not hip to that, kind of give us the 10,000-foot view of what that project was all about.
So I used to fantasize about dying on the moon was a concept that I had while making the album before it to Cleveland and Beyond. I was
Okay.
dealing with the loss of my mother and my best friend. They both passed 2 months apart in different tragic ways. And I was 22 years old at the time, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. You know, a lot of people in my family have never been to a therapist and never dealt with things in a healthy way. It's always led to violence, aggression, or substance abuse. So music is a very positive way for me to vent and let that out. I started messing with psychedelics, and it got to the point that I became numb. And I felt like, man, if I can get up to this mountain every time, if I happen to pass away on that mountain, that's not so bad. I'd rather pass away at a high than pass away at a low.
Right, okay. So that's what that project was all about. So now, when you get into 30 Summers,
Right.
it's looking back even over those days
Yeah.
up to the current.
Correct. And it's looking back because I feel like when you're making an album, you kind of hold in and you focus on that zone you're in.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of emotions and feelings that you still have that aren't necessarily captured on that piece of work. So 30 Summers is cutting through the layers of everything I've done all the way back into the time I was born to really show you like the bare bones of what makes me me and what makes my music so unique.
I noticed, too, you seem very selective as far as who you do collabs with.
Okay.
There hasn't been, it doesn't seem like there's been a ton.
Right.
You've had the new single with Chip.
Right.
You've done one with Rip Flames.
Yeah, shout out to Rip, man. That's big, bro.
Yeah. How are you selecting who you do collab with?
So I'm very passionate about my music, and I understand that working with an artist, you could possibly get what they call like a brown paper bag verse,
Yeah.
which is really, they're just doing it for the bag. They don't care about you. They
Right.
don't care about anything. They're just trying to get a check and go. So I've always took that in mind, and I've always kind of looked up to artists coming up in Cleveland. We're a very musical city.
Mhm.
And as I've been climbing up, I've been thinking, well, who could I really work with that I would sound good with and have a similar message to what I have? Like Rip, for example, he has a lot of deep cuts and he talks about a lot of real stuff in his music and a lot of real pain. And I felt that's something that me and him could mesh well together on and create a beautiful song.
When you are in the car, what are you listening to?
So when I'm in the car, I'm listening to various things. I could be listening to Key Glock, Young Dolph, Larry June, Nipsey Hussle, but then I can put on some country music. I like 90s country. You know, my dad, growing up with him, he always played a lot of old school country. Maybe some Prince, you know, some early rock and roll.
Oh, so you a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Speaking of which, you have a lot of tracks.
Yes, sir.
Even before I used to fantasize about dying on the moon.
Yeah.
You have tracks that you made even before that. Fast forward to nowadays.
Okay.
You get a call from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Mm.
We need you to come open up for this major act. You can do one song. What song are you doing?
I would have to do Higher, featuring Chip the Ripper.
Yeah, even with Chip not here.
Even with Chip not here, I would just let his verse play, and I would just do it for the crowd.
Okay.
Just to
that
show
song.
him.
Now, why would you choose that one out of all the catalog that you have?
Because that's my best yet.
You think?
Yeah, yes,
okay.
sir. I think I flow the best. I got the best cadence that I've ever had before. You can hear me the clearest, and I feel like I go. It's almost like a story, and I'm really getting into them layers of breaking myself down as an artist and putting myself into the music, and that's why people seem to love it.
Where do you think Slagle goes from here? After this single with Chip, 30 Summers is coming.
Right.
Where's Slagle going from there?
So the trajectory that I have for myself is, I mean, we all hope that the album does good.
Right.
So I'm very confident in this new single coming out. I'm very confident in the content and the album itself doing well. And hopefully it just takes us to more, you know, doing like the big interviews, doing the bigger shows. I'm not trying to be an underground artist doing boom bap forever. I want to touch Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I want to touch them real stadium shows. I want to, even if I never win one, I want to have a seat at the Grammys just to have that experience.
Right.
Just to feel what that's like.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And hopefully some videos get worked into the mix.
Yes, sir.
I know you said the doc is coming, so you're probably more focused on that right now.
Right.
But I noticed there hasn't been a ton of videos yet.
Right.
But maybe there will be, it seems like, with this new project.
So that's something that I'm working on. I'm still working on the album, but I'm starting to kind of pick which songs I think would do the best for the album. Never know. Maybe we'll get a Higher video featuring Chip.
Hey, you got to talk him into it.
Oh, yeah.
You got to come home. Chip comes to Cleveland here and there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to tie him down for something. You know what I mean?
He was supposed to come.
Sneak him or something. Just point the camera in his face and be like, just do anything. Just mouth something.
Right.
So I can put it in the video. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. He was actually, last time he was in town, we sponsored an event that he did for the Indie Art House in East Cleveland.
Okay.
And I got to go out there and hang out with him and, you know, cut up for a little bit. And that's what I was talking to him. Like, bro, we definitely got to get a video coming. He was supposed to pull up at my smoke shop, but, you know, he was pretty busy.
Yeah. But it'll work out.
Yeah,
it'll work out.
Yeah. Shout out to Chip, man.
Yeah, the new single is called Higher. Of course, you can hear it here on Real 106.1. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media.
You guys can follow me at Slagle, AYE Slagle on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you got Threads, shout out to Threads. I've been using Threads more than Twitter.
Oh, yeah? Is it dope?
Now it's X. I mean, it's okay. Twitter can be very toxic.
Yeah.
So I feel like Threads is more positive.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Very supporting group of people over there.
I always say every platform is for a different thing. I think Facebook is for people who are depressed and chicks that want to talk shit about their baby daddy and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's all that be. I'm having a terrible day. I want to jump off a building. My baby daddy sucks. And then Instagram is for flossing.
Yep.
Twitter is for talking shit.
Yep.
And Threads I hadn't ventured into yet. And Snapchat is so you can get some titties and ass on the low.
Well, I mean, maybe for the premium content.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Threads has been pretty cool. You know, I like to follow entrepreneurs, people who do business of all sorts. So I follow like Money Man. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's a rapper. He's amazing. Shout out to Money Man. I follow Ghazi from Empire. I just try to look up to people who I feel like are doing things right and follow that blueprint.
Yeah. Now, you just mentioned all the social media platforms that you're on.
Yeah.
What do you use social media for the most?
Marketing.
Okay.
I always say that if I wasn't an artist, if I wasn't an entrepreneur trying to have a business, I probably wouldn't be on social media.
Slagle in the building, man. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you, Tony.
Yes, sir.